WWE Bad Blood 2024 just went off the air, and the big news coming out of the show is that The Rock has returned. He didn't really do anything, but after the main event where Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns defeated Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, The Rock's music hits, the crowd goes nuts, 16,000 people in State Farm Arena screaming. The Rock comes out, he stands there. He stares at the ring where Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes and Jimmy Uso, who returned during the main event, they're standing in the ring, and The Rock just stares at them and kind of looks at them kind of threateningly and leaves. So The Rock still has a role to play in this bloodline story. Now, as far as the show as a whole, I would say it was average. And I would say that about most of WWE's PLEs this year. I would say the best match on the card was the Hell in a Cell match, which actually opened the show, which was a surprise. I thought it might main event. I would assume it would main event, but it didn't. This was the blow off to the big CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre feud, which started technically last year when CM Punk returned. If you remember, Drew McIntyre ran out of the War Games cage before CM Punk came out. A lot of people saying that was unscripted. It started there, then Punk gets injured in the Rumble match, and that's where the feud really starts, and it's been going on the whole year. They had their first match at SummerSlam. It was kind of a letdown because of the whole Seth Rollins being the special guest referee, and the match was just okay. McIntyre won that one. Then at Bash in Berlin, Punk defeats McIntyre in a strap match. That was a good match, and this was the final match in the trilogy, and it was a good match. It did not really meet my expectations. I expected it to be better, but it was good, and it was the best match on the show. There was a lot of blood, especially from Drew McIntyre, who was like gushing blood to the point where the referee had to intervene and like wipe some of the blood off with a towel, and the crowd was booing that. And later on, Punk took a wrench and was jamming it into McIntyre's head after that, and then more blood came out. A lot of blood started gushing out, and the referee tried to clean it up again, but it didn't work out. But as far as the match itself, it was a good match. They stayed inside the Hell in a Cell. They didn't go on top of the cell. They didn't go through the announce table or anything from the top of the cell. Nothing crazy, no enormous spots or anything. They did have tables in the match. They had wrenches in the match, which I don't know why. I don't know. They really used a wrench a lot during this match. There was a toolbox under the ring. It was made part of the match that CM Punk used the metal toolbox as a weapon as well. And other than that, there was like a bag of those bracelet beads that you saw with the CM Punk bracelet with AJ's name on it and Larry's name on it, which has been a focal point of this feud. So apparently Drew McIntyre had a whole bunch of those beads and poured it on CM Punk as like an insult near the end of the match, which was kind of ridiculous because it ended up costing him the match. See, this whole bracelet thing is so weird because it's like McIntyre and Punk are veteran professional wrestlers. So why would, Punk be distracted by the bracelet during the previous matches? And why would McIntyre bring a bag full of beads just to insult Punk in the Hell in a Cell match? I mean, this is serious business. And it's also, in the storyline, this is a big match that could affect both guys' careers and could affect whether they're going to be in the title picture next. So why would McIntyre resort to just like a silly thing at the end of a very violent, bloody match? So it kind of made McIntyre look like a fool because it cost him the match and Punk ended up winning. But, the match itself was good. It was good. It never really got out of first gear, in my opinion. It never became like really, really, really exciting. Another thing I didn't like about the match was that both of them hit finishers when they were almost like dead. Like basically Punk was barely moving and then he hits a GTS. Same with Drew McIntyre. He's basically dead and then he hits a Claymore out of nowhere. Just like all of a sudden they have all this energy to hit a finisher. It's like, I don't know. It seemed a little silly, but still I would say this is probably the best of their 3 matches, or maybe at the same level as their strap match. If you haven't seen it, it is worth watching. I mean, it is the blow-off to the biggest feud of the year. Then after that, we got Bayley versus Nia Jax for the Women's Championship. This was a sloppy match. Nia Jax was in control for almost all of it. It really didn't do Bayley any favors, although they did protect Bayley with the finish because Tiffany Stratton came out and it looked like she was going to cash in the Money in the Bank to make it a triple threat match. However, Nia Jax saw what she was doing and then Tiffany Stratton backed off, which allowed Bayley to capitalize, and she attacked Nia Jax. But, of course, later on, Tiffany Stratton gets involved, distracts Bayley. Nia Jax takes advantage of that. Nia Jax beats Bayley, pins her, retains the championship, and Tiffany Stratton still has the Money in the Bank briefcase. It wasn't a good match. If you haven't seen it, you can skip it because it was sloppy in spots, and it was sloppy to the point where you didn't know who was hitting the offensive move on who. Like, they would hit a move and you didn't know who got the worst of it, because there was just some mistimed things. I don't know. It wasn't good. Next match, Damian Priest, Finn Bálor. This match was okay. Nobody was really dominating the match. It was just back and forth between the guys. Still not a spectacular match or anything. Just there. Nothing remarkable about it other than the fact that they made Damian Priest look really good, because I was thinking that Finn Bálor was going to win because, first of all, Finn hasn't had a major win in a long time, and I would think they would want to further this feud for War Games or something, but, you know, they didn't make Finn look good at all. I mean, Damian Priest was beating up Finn Bálor, and then JD McDonough and Carlito come out to help Finn Bálor, and their interference doesn't work. You know, it backfires. Damian Priest beats up all 3 of them and then pins Finn Bálor. So that makes Damian Priest look great. It keeps him in the main event scene. And Finn Bálor, JD McDonough, and Carlito look like jobbers. So that really didn't do any favors for Finn. I thought this match would be a match to make Finn look good and make him look like a main event player, but that's not what they did here. So Finn is still stuck as a mid-carder, even though he was the very first Universal Champion. The 4th match was the Women's World Title, which was Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan with Dominic Mysterio hanging in a shark cage above the entranceway. This match, again, nothing spectacular. It was okay. Rhea Ripley mostly just throwing Liv Morgan around, but when Liv was in control, Liv was attacking Rhea Ripley's knee. And then at some point, Dominic Mysterio opens the shark cage and falls out of it, but he's chained to it, so he's just like hanging by his foot. And then Rhea Ripley starts to attack Dominic Mysterio with a kendo stick, and then Raquel Rodriguez returns out of nowhere and attacks Rhea Ripley, aligning herself with Liv Morgan. And the match ends with a disqualification. Liv Morgan retains the title. And there was another segment in this show where Triple H came out to make a big announcement that at Crown Jewel, they're going to have the WWE Champion face the World Champion. So it's brand versus brand to determine who is the Crown Jewel Champion. And he unveiled a Crown Jewel Championship with all these diamonds on it. Now, Gunther came out and he said he's going to have that championship. And by the way, they're doing it with the women as well. So presumably it's going to be Liv Morgan against Nia Jax, which is kind of strange, but that's what they're going to do, I guess. Unless Tiffany Stratton cashes in on Nia Jax before then. Anyway, Gunther comes out, starts making fun of Goldberg, who's sitting in the audience. Goldberg jumps the barricade and he's trying to go after Gunther, but security holds him back. Then Sami Zayn comes and attacks Gunther because Sami Zayn will be facing Gunther for the world title on Raw this coming Monday. And then security had to separate them. So that was the end of that segment. The main event, Cody Rhodes and and Roman Reigns facing off against Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. Now, I have to say the entrances of Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns were good, especially Cody Rhodes because he had a marching band play his theme song. They're in Georgia. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns have spent a lot of time in Georgia during their lives. I believe Cody Rhodes grew up there, and also Roman Reigns went to college in Georgia and played football there. So it was a big deal to have Roman and Cody team together in Atlanta, Georgia at this event. That's probably why they got the main event. And during the match, it was sort of your typical tag team match, nothing special. It almost felt like a house show tag team match because, again, they never really got out of first gear, except for Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu was doing his usual crazy stuff. He looked good in this match. Cody Rhodes looked fine. Roman Reigns really was playing to the crowd. So he's embracing this whole babyface thing. So he's going to be really playing to the crowd, I guess, going forward during his matches and stuff, because he was having fun out there. He's in incredible physical condition. And luckily his entrances won't take as long now that he has this new theme music. He doesn't have like a 5-minute entrance anymore because he's not the champion. And he doesn't have that long entrance theme song, even though this new theme song is sort of like a remix of the original one. But anyway, the match itself, it was fine. Nothing spectacular. The crowd loved Roman. The crowd loved Cody. And the turning point in the match comes when Solo Sikoa was actually in control in the ring and then notices somebody at ringside. And it's somebody wearing a bandana and a hoodie who super kicks Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, who are also at ringside, and then reveals his face, and it's Jimmy Uso, who I thought might return during this match because he was mentioned by Roman Reigns not too long ago, and here he is now. Jimmy is back, and that allowed a distraction where Roman Reigns picked up the win by pinning Solo Sikoa. So I was surprised by that. I thought Solo and Jacob Fatu were going to win because they got to set up war games, right? But no, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes win the match. So that was fun to have Jimmy Uso come back and help them out, and Jimmy Uso aligns himself with Roman Reigns. Then Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa were all beating up Cody Rhodes. Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso had walked away, and then they're looking back like, Roman's thinking, do I help this guy or not? And Roman didn't really want to, but Jimmy Uso kind of like was saying like, what should I do? And he'll do whatever Roman says. And then Roman decided to go help out Cody. So they helped out Cody. And so they cleared the ring. And then Roman, Cody, and Jimmy Uso were standing in the ring. And then The Rock's music hit. And everyone went nuts. And The Rock came out. And like I mentioned at the beginning, didn't do much, just stood there. Just to let everybody know that he's going to have a match at some point with some of these people. I don't know if he's going to be involved in war games. That would be kind of cool because he wouldn't have to do much since it's like a 4-on-4 match or a 5-on-5 match. So that'll be cool if The Rock comes back. Overall, the show was okay. Nothing to go out of your way to see other than maybe the Hell in a Cell, which I would say was a good match. Everything else was sort of just there. Nothing spectacular. The Rock returns. That's the big news coming out of this thing. And that was WWE Bad Blood 2024.